Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars, launches on Nintendo Switch October 28th. Pre-orders and a free demo will be available today on Nintendo eShop.
Well, that was unexpected. So, it's been about 2 weeks since the first Voice of Cards teaser dropped on Square Enix's Twitter page, and now, we've got a demo of Yoko Taro's newest game to try out. Along with that, we've also got a lot more information, like platforms and release date. I won't be covering the basic info of what the game is here. If you want that, go check out the video I made a little bit back. This all happened a lot quicker than I expected, but I'm glad we won't end up having to wait years for this game. In this video, I'm going to quickly go over the new stuff we've learned, as well as my thoughts on the demo. First off, if you're coming here from the Nintendo Direct, I gotta point out that this demo is also available on PS4 and Steam as well. This indirectly confirms the release platforms of the game, and oh my god am I so glad this isn't a mobile-only release. Voice of Cards is also releasing relatively quickly on October 28th, just over a month from now, and it isn't a full-price game. There's a few cosmetic DLC packs coming out on release, and I'll flash what they are and what's in them on the screen now if you want to read it. Okay, paperwork sorted and filed. Let's talk about the demo. I'd say I'm a little bit more into card games than your average person. I've already talked about my love for Slay the Spire, and I used to play Hearthstone pretty regularly up until a few years ago. That is to say, while I can understand a few people might be turned off by the card game concept, I've got no issues with it. To get a good grasp of the mechanics and what's going on here, I've played through the demo twice, once in English and once in Japanese. Unexpectedly, the demo's actually a prologue, and it's going to connect to the main game's plot. Your player character starts off by entering a room where he's greeted by the game's narrator.
こんにちは。いや、こんばんはですかね。
The narrator's voiced by Hiroki Yasumoto, aka Pod 042 from NieR Automata and Grimoire Vice from Replicant.
近距離攻撃装備起動
I don't know what kind of dirt Yoko Taro has on this guy to keep him in his back pocket for every game like this, but I'm not complaining. I'm actually pretty glad that the voice acting for this narrator is top-notch, because it really had the potential to make or break this game. You see, when I made my last video, I assumed being a card game, Voice of Cards would resemble something like Slay the Spire, Cultist Simulator, or Lost Kingdoms. I was wrong on all three counts, but I don't think that's a bad thing. It'd be kinda reductive to solely describe Voice of Cards using other games as benchmarks. Maybe it is exactly like some other game that's out there, but it's totally unlike anything that I've ever played. It's doing its own thing. The emphasis of this game is on the tabletop aspect. Think of Hiroki Yasumoto, or Tom Habercorn if you're playing in English, as your personal DM in a tabletop campaign. It's their voice that guides you through the experience. When they said everything is represented by cards, they really meant everything is represented by cards. The characters, dialogue, attacks, hell, even the world map is shown on the front face of a card. The announcement showed off a few characters, and I'm already on board with this monster-looking fella, but like I said, this demo is a prologue to the main game, so we're working with something different here. You play as Winifred, Berwin, and Hedwin, 3 members of the Shidoi Kyodan, localized as the Ivory Order, a group I'm still not totally convinced is an evil on the low. They're tasked by Queen Nilla, Queen Vanilla in Japanese, which I think is the obviously superior name, to retrieve a royal treasure, some mysterious medicine. It's kinda cool that the demo has its own unique story, assuming this isn't at all in the main game. And while it isn't the strongest premise, it gets the brain whirring, at least making you brainstorm about the world at large. So you move your little tabletop piece around the world, which reveals card tiles as you go. The game has different tiles representing the different biomes spread across the world map, and you occasionally find some stuff like hidden treasure if you flip over the right card. One of the first places you head to is a nearby town, which is fully equipped with an inn, blacksmith, NPCs, and the like. There's even a game hall where you can play a card game inside a card game. Yeah, let that one sink in for a second. I'm like 99% sure that this is a unique card game, and it was pretty simple to pick up the rules. I absolutely destroyed the poor AI, but it looks like you'll be able to play this game through online multiplayer, if there's menu options to be believed anyways. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, hey Brando guy, if you take away the fact that this is a card game, is this not basically a normal RPG? Why yes, astute-eyed viewer. Yes, it is. Battles play out just like RPGs. You take turns, use attacks, nothing is randomized except for the dice rolls, just like a regular RPG. The only difference here is that you're physically rolling the dice. You earn golden EXP, level up, buy items at a shop, you got a stat screen, equipment, random encounters, it's all here. Yeah, it's best to think of the cards as the aesthetic the game uses to represent itself. In that aspect, it's doing something different, which I think is really cool. Speaking of aesthetics, we gotta talk about our two titans, Keiichi Okabe and Kimihiko Fujisaka. Okabe's music is as it always has been. Pure heat. He even got Emmy Evans back to do vocals. Again, I don't know what the Taro team has on these people, but I'm not complaining. You could have told me that the main song was a lost track from the NieR Replicant OST, and I'd believe it. The artist, Kimihiko Fujisaka, is putting in heavy work to make this card game aesthetic look as appealing as possible. To be honest, this kind of thing has the potential to backfire, but I mean, check out the art. It's really strong, and everything from characters you play as, to the environments, to the monsters, just oozes with style. If you've seen the artwork for Drakengard, particularly Drakengard 3, this will all seem familiar to you. Also, each card including the monsters and weapons has a backstory that you can go see in the gallery. You can only see half in the demo, but the whole thing is giving me them weapon story vibes, if you know what I'm saying. To sum up my current thoughts on Voice of Cards, yeah, I really dig it. Like I said, I'm coming at it from the perspective of someone who likes card games and Yoko Taro games. Do I think you should be looking forward to Voice of Cards as well? I'd say you should probably be interested in at least one of the things I just mentioned. The game really clicks with me, and I'm confident that this is going to be another Yoko Taro team fantastic experience, but I can understand if the card aesthetic turns some people off. One thing I can say with absolute certainty though, if you're on the fence, give the demo a shot. It's free and available on pretty much every system, so you don't really have anything to lose. The whole thing took me about an hour per playthrough when all was said and done. It's not a huge time commitment, but if you play it and can't get past the card thing, that's fair too. All I'm saying is that I'm really looking forward to this, and the fact that it's coming out in just over a month really is the icing on the cake. One last thing before I go. Yoko Taro dropped a statement on the game along with its announcement. It's a bit long for me to say out loud, but I'll leave it up on the screen for a second. Pause and give it a read if you're interested. Or if you got superhuman reading speed, just do your thing, I guess. Anyways, that's all I got for today. If you played the demo for Voice of Cards, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Till next time.